Hey guys, good evening. Welcome to Luton. And it sounds very, very cold. Evening, New York Yankees. I'm saying evening. Surely it's not evening where you are. It's got to be at least the mid-afternoon. Okay, so I can hear the wind howling outside. It actually sounds cold and windy and wintry as England does start to get like this at this time of year. Just finished school. Okay, well, hopefully you can join us with this flight while you do your homework. That is, of course, if you had any homework. Okay, let's get jumped into the cockpit and we'll start to get set up. We are on VATSIM as well, although I don't believe there's anyone controlling Luton at the moment. I'm just going to double check that. Before we set up. No, there's no one controlling Luton. London South is online, but they don't quite cover Luton. Good evening. We'll watch shortly on final RNAV into... Oh, good lord, good luck. Hope the Neo behaves. Yeah, I bet you do. Oh, you should be alright. It's not too bad with RNAV, and after all, at the end of the day, it's a visual approach. So, I'm sure you'll get down and have fun. Let us know how that goes, won't you? Okay, right. So, let's get into the cockpit. And, ooh, that's nice and dark. I love the little reflections. Look that we've got here off the terminal. Batteries. Batteries. There we go. And now the power's on. We can request some ground power, please, from Luton. Request ground power, there we go.
Luton ground Airbus, could you please send a ground power unit?
Because
Airbus,
we need one.
Ground power unit is on the road.
There it is, I can see it flashing, so now we've got the ground power unit there. We can hopefully turn that on. And we can hear that. Hear that coming away. Oh, that's loud. There we go. Awesome. So, New York Yankees, can you make a tutorial on how to set up the Fly Live studio? Right, okay, do you know what? I've had a few people asking me this. I am very computer illiterate, so I kind of say if I can do it, I'm sure you guys can. You sound a lot younger than I am. The tutorial actually is quite good, and if not, I think the one thing I did do was I actually googled on YouTube for a tutorial that was on there, and I think it was a YouTube tutorial that helped me out. So do that first, have a look at that, and then if you still have problems, let me know and I'll see what I can do. But there's definitely a good YouTube tutorial already available. With setting up the Fly Live Studio that probably explains it far better than I can. Okay, so let's get set up here. We'll go through the preliminary cockpit checklist. So, engine masters are off, engine mode selector normal, and weather radar is off. We have to make sure that that is off, otherwise we do end up frying the ground crew. Landing gear is down. That sounds like a very obvious thing to have, but we do have it on the checklist, so always worth checking. Landing gear levers down. Both wiper selectors are off. That is good. We do have the wiper selectors off. If incidentally you put those on and it is not raining, you can damage the windscreen, which is why that's on there. What else do we need? So they've got the external power on, and now we just need to test the APU and fire check. So there we go, that's fine. That's fine. A quick APU test. All is good. It's a shame I can't actually see it on here. You should get a display on here telling you that there's a fire going off. But I can't look up there and down there at the same time. Okay, so they're all good. We'll turn the nav lights on and start the APU. Wait 3 seconds for starting the APU. 1, 2, 3. There we go, that's the APU starting to fire up. So we'll once the APU is available, we'll set the air conditioning panel. Exterior lights are as required. Cockpit lights as required. Ecam recall. Just check we've not missed any messages on that. That's fine. And oil quantity, we can't check that, it's not yet modelled. Flaps lever, check the position, should be up, and they are. Speed brake lever, check the position, is retracted and disarmed. Parking brake is on. Accu brakes, pressure, and okay, let's go through some of the flows. So first of all, we'll set that to the UK reference, and crew supply, and we'll turn on the ideas to get those aligning. That takes about 7 minutes. So just waiting now, and now we'll start getting the passengers boarded as well. So the passengers and everything, this comes from self-loading cargo, if anyone's wondering where all these noises are about to come from.
Cabin crew, we're happy to get going now, so as soon as you're ready you can open the doors and start letting the passengers on board.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so passengers should start boarding. There we go. Lovely. Alright, so let's have a look at our payload for today's flight. We just bring up the... There we go. Okay, so what have we got? We have got a payload of... Let's bring this down here. So our payload today is hang on, that's disappeared from my screen. Where have you gone? Oh, there we go. So payload, oh, that's quite a light flight tonight. About 16.5 tons. Oh, they fixed this. I had a mini up earlier, and this lever, this slider up here was jumping up and down. So I had an update of something like 26 kilobytes, which just snuck in there, and I thought I wasn't going to be able to do the stream tonight because of that, but this looks like one of the little things they fixed. That's wonderful. Okay, so about 16,500 tons. The centre of gravity is well out there, so we'll change that. We'll put more luggage in the back of the aircraft, take it out of the front of the aircraft, and we'll just take a 200 kilogram out of there as well, so that becomes 5.9, 5.6, 5.1, yeah, that's close enough. And our zero fuel weight centre of gravity then is 28.3. So we can go ahead and start popping all these details in here. So our flight number tonight is 1954. Oh, need to clear that. 1954. Cost index of 8, of course. Cruise level of 36,000 feet. But we're not at that height for very long tonight. At a temperature of -54. There we go. Aviation simulation. Echo Golf Papa Foxtrot is Edinburgh. So we're going up to Bonnie, Scotland, where it's probably much colder than down here in Luton. Alright, so where were we? So the zero fuel weight and the zero fuel weight centre of gravity. The zero fuel weight is 57.5, so about 57.5 tons. And our zero fuel weight centre of gravity is, what was that? 28.3. 28.3. Was that right? Double check that. 28.3, that's right. We'll pop that in there. Okay, so the fuel that we're going to need for tonight's short flight is fuel of... Oh, that's not very much. 3.3 tons. You know what? I'm going to take a little bit more than that. I'm not sure why that's right. In fact, hang on a minute. I'm actually looking at the wrong... we need to take the plan block fuel, which is actually 3.5 tons. So I will take 3.8 tons. Seems like a very, very small amount of fuel there. That could be a sim brief error. We'll find out if we run out of fuel halfway through. Okay, and our centre of gravity for takeoff with fuel is 28.5, which gives us a trim setting of, oh, that's nice and balanced, a trim setting of 0. That's wonderful and easy to remember. So, got in. Glad you got down safety, mate. No butter anywhere to be seen. Still let the autopilot touch down, and he still fails. Yes, fair enough. Ooh, aviation simulation. Good spot. What did I say? Have I got Papa Hotel in the init page? We are going to Papa Hotel. Have I just named the stream wrong? I could have. For some reason, off the top of my head, I was getting Glasgow and Edinburgh the wrong way around. Let me double check that. I'll go in and edit that if that's not right. Oh, I have done. Hang on. Let me edit that then, because we're not going to Gatwick at all. Let me change that, otherwise we're all going to get confused. We're off to Edinburgh, Papa Hotel. Hang on a sec. Papa Hotel we're off to. Thankfully the flight plan is right. It's just me that's wrong. So hopefully that is now updated. Aviation simulation, yeah, good spot. Thank you for that. I have now just changed that, so hopefully the title of the stream should say Papa Hotel, which is what my flight plan says and what my McDo says. So we're definitely off to Edinburgh. Wonderful. Okay, so we've got a block fuel loaded of 3.8 tons, which does seem very low, but there we go. We've got a headwind of 53. Oh, now I'm even more concerned about that fuel. Alright, we shall trust SimBrief to know what it's doing. I need to get the latest dev version of this, because apparently they've now got all this fuel page working, which is good. So I'll have to have a look at that, maybe do a tutorial on it, and see how that works. Is your cost index and cruise altitude automatic? If you use SimBrief, it can either choose the cost index and the cruise altitude for you on its own automatically, or just because I fly EasyJet's cost index usually tend to be 8. Low cost carrier, they don't want to burn that much fuel, so I tend to set that to 8, but then I do leave the leave SimBrief to sort out the cruise altitude. Because your SimBrief operational flight plan in PDF mode does not look like that. This is the EasyJet layout, which again you can set within SimBrief. So just because we're flying as an EasyJet airline, we use the EasyJet flight plan layout. Okay, so we've got our init B and init A pages and performance setup. Let's just have a look at this. I need the transition altitude for Luton, which I think is 6,000 feet, if memory serves. Yes, it is. 6,000 feet. We're using flaps 1 for takeoff, and I don't need to enter this next bit, but I will do just to keep it nice and neat. Oh, format error. What have I done? I know what I've done. Flaps 1 up 0.0. Oh, I've popped it in the flex 2 temp, which is very inaccurate. Should we try that again? There we go. Flex 2 temp. We're going to use a toga takeoff anyway this evening. So, actually, no, we're not using toga. I'm lying to you. Where's the... where is my toga calculator? Is our takeoff flex temp is 67. There we are. For anyone who wants to know how I get the flex temp and the centre of gravity things all sorted, take a look at setting up the McDo advanced setup on the page. on the stream, and there's a tutorial there which gives you links to stuff to do that. Gabrielle, good evening, my friend. Wonderful. Alright, so we're nearly all about set up. Now what I need to do is we'll just check the flight plan. We are using the only 2 Bravo departure, taking off from runway 25. Where are you? There we go. Only 2 Bravo. Insert that, and then what I do need to do is just check my charts to make sure that that is all correct. So the only 2 Bravo departure gets us up to 6,000 feet. There we go. Now we'll turn the flight directors on. Now that the fly-by-wire guys have made this mod more advanced, I have to remember to turn them both on. Cal Brown, good evening. How are you? This is on Streamlabs. No, it's not. Oh, hang on. Is it? No, we're on the OBS. Just on the OBS system. Right, let's get some air conditioning going. Otherwise, it is quite cool this evening. We need to warm the cabin up. There we go. The oldest gamer. Good evening, my friend. Love your username, even though I feel rude every time I call it out. I also need to just double check the weather here at Luton, which we can now do through the McDo. Weather request, we'll get that for both Luton and for Edinburgh as well. Well, they've not come through just yet. Okay, so before we can start, just make sure that the cockpit preparation checklist is complete. I'll turn on the seatbelt signs, no smoking signs, on the emergency lights. I know, I'm 36, I am a young man. At least I like to think so. So the passengers are still getting on board. The ideas are aligned. Fuel quantity, just check that's set and balanced. Still got the cabin door open. Flight control, no, fuel. Fuel is all balanced, as I've already expressed. This looks like a very low amount of fuel, but we shall see what happens mid-air. I've already said the trim position is 0 for that, so just double check we're at 0 trim. So fuel quantity is balanced. Flight management guidance is all set. Altimeters will be set in a moment once I've got the weather. Wrong button. Messages received. So the METAR is 1015. And that's set and cross-checked. Okay, so the last of the passengers are almost on board. Aviation simulation, is there a tutorial anywhere on how to add the FlyLive Studio to OBS? I've no idea, my friend. I am, as many of my followers have discovered, I am completely computer literate. I know how to fly the plane, I don't know how to set up the computer. I think YouTube may be your best friend for that. Hydra Pepper, good evening. Thank you for subscribing. Glad you find the videos helpful. And yeah, live stream tonight, so this should be good. Famous last words. Is the McDo set up for the cost index, 0 fuel weight and 0 fuel centre of gravity weight covered in the addendum or the initial video? Both. The reason there's an addendum in that is because I rather sillily left the Simbury flight plan over the top of the McDo about halfway through the video for 10 minutes. So I I made the addendum to cover all the bits that I missed. Okay, so we should be pretty close to getting everyone on board now and finishing off. Okay, Brown, no, I don't play Explain 11. I am just Microsoft, I'm afraid. I'm just scribbling some stuff down because we are on VATSIM. And the doors are getting closed and we're ready for push and start. Wonderful.
All passengers are on board and doors have been closed.
Thank you.
So let's lock the cockpit door, which means now we no longer hear the passengers. We'll just welcome them aboard.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. And I'd like to welcome you aboard this Easyjet A320 flight 1954 to Edinburgh. We expect the flight time to be around 1 hour 25 minutes and we're not anticipating any delays, so we hope to be up in the air to our cruising altitude of 36,000 feet in the next 15 minutes or so. It looks like we're in for a nice calm departure where the wind is concerned, so it should be smooth flying all the way up to our cruising altitude. You should get a nice view as we climb, so make sure you enjoy the view out of the windows. If you're not lucky enough to have a window seat, feel free to ask the person next to you what it looks like and I'm sure they'll oblige. For now though, the ground crew are loading the last of the baggage into the aircraft, so if you could get yourself seated and secured in the meantime, we can make a departure as soon as they're finished. Thank you.
So that's the cabin announcement done. The A380, yes. Well, the A380, the fly-by-wire guys are working on the A380 at the minute, which should be good. Okay, let's get this. Let's get the engine started now that we can disconnect external power. Don't need that. And we're on the Unicom for this. I am going to just double check that all that looks accurate, which it does. We'll just check the chart. Yeah, up to 6,000 feet. That looks good. So engine 1 is spooling up. Pop the constraints on there as well, just so we can see. And yeah, as you can see there, that takes us up to 6,000 feet initially, which is good. So at the moment, I'm not sure who we've got online controller-wise, but never mind.
Luton traffic EG579 might take off runway 25.
So that's an aircraft on runway 25, which is where we'll be taxiing to in a moment. Robbie the robot will be passing out chips soon. Yeah. Well, as long as they throw some my way. So that's engine number 1 started. I will start engine number 2. 1015, just set the standby altimeter. And it seems like we're not getting a pushback tug here, so we'll do a very illegal reverse thrust to get us going. Turn these up a bit, a little bit dark. Okay, so
Cabin crew, please arm doors and cross-check. Thank you.
we'll just make a call on Unicom to tell any other aircraft that will be taxiing via Bravo and Alpha to runway 25. Luton ground, Easy 34 Alpha Mike will be pushing back from stand 6, taxiing via Bravo and Alpha to runway 25.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the crew, I ask that you please direct your attention to the monitors as we review the emergency procedures. There are 6 emergency exits on the aircraft. Take a minute to locate the one closest to you and note that it may be behind you.
Hi Fran, good evening.
Close to the exit. Should the cabin experience pressure loss, stay calm and listen for instructions from the cabin crew.
Just got to keep an eye out for other aircraft when there's no
Place the mask over your mouth and
no
nose
ATC online.
the strap to tighten it.
And straight away we can see a couple in front of us in the air.
You put your own mask on first before helping
Okay,
others.
so
In the unlikely event of an emergency landing and evacuation, leave your carry-on luggage and items behind.
Fran, you've got an issue with VATSIM error connecting to voice server. Oh, I've not seen that before. Not sure I'm the person to help you with that. I would imagine the VATSIM group on Facebook will probably be your best bet for that.
Thank you for your attention and we hope you enjoy the flight.
Bath McNabb, good evening. Is it just you that can see the SimBrief flight plan? No, it's not just you. Hang on a sec. How's that? Should be able to see everything I can see now. Okay, so after start anti-ice as required. We don't need that. Ecam status is looking good. TCAS is still on standby. We can turn that to TA actually. We don't have a squawk code yet as the ATC is not online for where we are. Rudder trim, pitch trim 0, and elevator trim, pitch trim we don't need because it's 0.0, which was quite nice for our centre of gravity. Oh Mike, you should have spoken up had I gotten rid of it for you. Okay, so let's make our way down to the runway. So, a bit of a longish taxi, and things could go wrong here if an aircraft is using taxiway Bravo and we've not got ATC online, but I don't think there's anyone else here taxiing via Bravo. They're not on Unicom. Cal Brown, thank you for the sub, my friend. Liam had to declare emergency tonight because the autopilot's broken. Oh, don't tell me that. I'm flying the Dev version of the A320 now. Having said that, it's not the latest dev, I must admit. It's a dev from about a week ago after the last update. So, Gabriel, yes, I know we hit 1,000 over the weekend. That's incredible, isn't it? Fran, thank you for the 1,000. It really is very, very much appreciated. If anyone saw the video that I did, the flight that we did this morning out of Naples, go and just go and have a look at the taxi to the runway. It was like travelling on a mud road. I think there's a bit of a taxiway issue there. That's broken. Oh, there's always a car in the way, isn't there? Get out the way. Oh, not just a car, good lord, there's a passenger bus as well. Well, we're just going to have to plough straight through them. The broke AP is why I should learn to fly without it. Yeah, there's a good argument for that. Flight Simmer 7700. Ooh, there's a worrying squawk code. No, sadly not. Can't get the commercial pilot's license because I have not good enough eyesight. I failed the Class 1 medical several years ago. In fact, I'm flying at a rather disadvantage tonight. The kids over the weekend, they broke my glasses, and I'm now using a really old pair till a new pair arrive, and this old pair goes back about 15 years, and wow, my prescription's changed. All these taxiway lights, I'm seeing double. So the landing could be interesting tonight. The A320 needs a horn. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's just do a little bit of before takeoff checklist. So, flaps 1, and arm the ground spoilers. Set the auto brake to max. And this is actually a taxi at Luton where we taxi down to the far end of the runway and turn around. So, quick cabin check as well.
Cabin crew, seats for takeoff, please.
And we'll just announce our intentions on the Unicom. Luton traffic, easy, 34 Alpha Mike, lining up, runway 25. So, hopefully there's nothing coming in. Can't see any lights out there, that's always a good sign. Well, I hope that wasn't at Luton, because that was unreadable. Did anybody else understand what that guy said? So, before take-off checklist, flight controls, we haven't checked those actually, we can do that just before take-off. Briefing is done, flap setting done, FMA and take-off data is revised, transponder, we don't have one, but we can tell that on anyway. TCAS is now on, weather radar is now on. Mike, I don't know. I honestly couldn't tell you what my eyesight is, other than very poor.
Monitor Unicom, Eva Air cargo flight 15, heading for 22 for departure. Which way you going there?
That's runway 22, so we don't need to worry about that. There's no runway 22 at Luton, so they're not talking to us. You can see aircraft out there though. We'll just turn the dome lights down. There we go. Are the user waypoints still a problem? Honestly, I think they are. I tend to now just avoid them.
Radio Runner 57, Bravo Victor 655,
I tend to avoid them by going direct to the waypoint after them. TL config, check that, everything looks good and normal there. I'm also going to just select our airspeed just before we take off to 250 knots because we seem to have trouble climbing.
That's a 713. You have a copy?
Okay. So.
Just so you know, you have an inbound flight from on 22 landing in front of you. Affirmative.
Oh, always good fun. So, man, flex, SRS, and runway.
There's a 747. I don't know what his intentions are yet. Hang on a second. I'll tell you if he's clear or not. Now he's turning, and I don't know what he's doing. Now, hang on, I'll tell you.
I'm glad I'm not at standstill listening to those communications. V1, rotate. This is a little bit windy. Ugh.
Too low, terrain.
Positive rain, gear up.
Too low, terrain. Too low, terrain.
Downstairs radio runner 57, Bravo Victor, 2.5 miles final longitude.
Too low, terrain.
Right, okay, so a couple of things there. We don't normally get the ground proximity warning. Just check as well that we're in the right gate. I didn't think we were. Yeah, not the best takeoff there. A couple of things went slightly astray, weren't they? Ground spoilers, we can disarm the ground spoilers. And we're aiming for that 250 knots, which we've now got. And we can turn on the autopilot to get us up to 6,000 feet. Just check the climb rate of this, because this normally shoots up, so we have to select that manually, which we'll do at about 2,500 feet per minute. Yeah, so we normally don't get the ground proximity warning when taking off, but I have had that on the last couple of times, so I think that may be a sim issue.
You can go, sir. I'm waiting for my company behind. No worries. Go ahead, sir.
And then we've also had a problem recently.
Affirmative. Line up and wait. Yes, go ahead, sir. I'm waiting for company behind me.
We've also had a problem recently with the flight director on the climb out, so I was perhaps paying a bit too much attention to that and the airspeed. This is why real aircraft are flown with 2 pilots. Also, forgot to send the packs off for takeoff. That should have been done. So coming up to 6,000 feet, and we can now, with no ATC, we'll start the climb to our cruise altitude tonight, which is quite a lofty 360. And we're passing transition altitude, so that's standard. There was also an issue as well, we overspeed. The reason we overspeed is because I went to put the flaps back up, and I forgot I'd not reset the sensitivity settings when I was playing around earlier, so the flap lever, I didn't move it up far enough. So we got an overspeed warning on departure, so definitely not the textbook departure that you're after. However, we're now climbing and on our way. It's a shame with no ATC, to be fair. Always makes flights much more realistic. I wonder if we've got any ATC up in Scotland. Let's have a little look. Bath McNab, yeah. I'm just reading the message now. Yeah, the climb out was very shallow. And I think that had something to do with the flight director. As I say, it's not quite fully accurate on in the sim on the climb out. That it was having me almost taking off, as you say, without any sort of attitude. If anyone knows anyone who is disabled who would like to learn to fly, ask them to check out Airability on Facebook. That's a good shout out there, Mike. 10,000 feet, so turn off the landing lights. And we can also now engage manage mode for the climb, as we do tend to work out quite well. And we'll also set the speed to a managed mode climb as well. Turn the constraints off, we don't need those. So it's actually quite a short flight, this. Actual time in the air, according to the Simbury flight plan, is 59 minutes, so just under an hour. And that's from takeoff to landing. Turn the brightness down of the primary flight display a little bit, don't need that to be quite so bright when it's night time. Okay, now because our flight really is not very far, we're probably going to do the put some of the details in for the approach quite early on. I'm just having a look to see if any air traffic control is online up at Edinburgh, just because I don't want to put too much details into the flight plan and then have them changed. Now it looks as though we've just got ground online at Edinburgh, so that's okay. So given the current weather, we're expecting runway, which one? Runway runway 24. So that takes us out over the water and then back in again, which is quite nice. In general, when should you start descending to get the ILS? Okay, Hydra Pepper, there's a lot of questions wrapped up in that question. Basically, it all depends on the stars that you're using to come in. If you have Navigraph, you've obviously then got access to the charts, which give you all the information regarding that. If not, If not, and you've not got any charts or anything like that, standard rule of thumb, and this is very standard, not ever to be used in the real world, but if you can be at about 3,000 feet by 12 miles out, you won't be far off. Mike, I love that. One of their planes has the tail number. You can. Excellent stuff. Fly Guy, what are your PC specs? Well, this is actually the middle of the range system. I wouldn't say it's a strong one by any means. So what have we got? We've got a Ryzen 5 3600 processor in there, GTX 1660, only 16 gigabytes of RAM as well, and it's all installed on a hard drive, not a solid state drive. Using a 1080 display as well. If I'm not streaming, I'd usually use 2 displays, but if I am, then I'm using one for the sim, one for the charts, and want to see what you guys are saying. Richard, am I a real A320 pilot? No, sadly I am not. So I explained a little bit earlier, I couldn't pass the Class 1 UK medical due to poor eyesight, which has become even poorer in the last 48 hours since the kids sat on my glasses. So no, I've basically studied the A320 for a long time, and have several A320 pilot friends that have instructed me along the way, and I've been involved with flight simming for about 20 years. Should really turn the wind shear off. Don't bother turning the predictive wind shear on. I don't usually bother, but just tidies up the ECAM there. It doesn't work. It's just a little thing that you can have on. Looks good. Okay, so as I said, we're actually going to start planning our approach now, because we're so close to our destination. So we are going to be arriving at Edinburgh. We're using the ILS runway 24 arrival, and the which is the star we're using. Oh, where have you gone? It'll be the INPIP something. INPIP 1 Echo. There it is. So I'm just grabbing the charts for that. ILS charts and the INPIP 1 Echo charts. So at INPIP we need to be at altitude 260. Now you can also see here it says that it's the INPIP star, but we're going via the Echo Delta November NDB, but we're not. If I can, I'd like to set are we going via Tala? We're not going via Tala either. So it would be nice if you can select no veers, and it says none there, but you watch. I bet when we actually show this out now on the flight plan, I bet it has still taken us via the MBD. Oh, wrong one. My camera's changed again. Let's try that. Right, so if I just turn this back into plan mode, let's just have a look at this. So, Ribble, so INPIP, INREV, ESCDO, yeah, and then it's taking us to, it's taking us straight to Edinburgh, and oh wow, that looks a mess, doesn't it? Alright, so what we will do, we will vector ourselves in. Basically, what we will do is at INREV, we want to be at, that's right, we want to be at 20,000 feet, and then we should be going to a waypoint called Tartan. Now, I wonder if I can pop this in. So after ESCDO, can we pop this waypoint in, which is TARTN, Tartan. It's a great waypoint to have in Scotland, that, isn't it? So can I pop that in there? Will this work? Let's try. ESCDO, Edinburgh. Oh. Well, the answer to that question is no. Alright, we'll erase that. So we'll basically vector ourselves in onto the ILS for runway 24. Let's have a look. So, Liam, Class 1 Medical coming up after the lockdown. Good luck, my friend. I wish you all the luck in the world for that. That was my dream shattered when I was younger, and let's face it, it was based on my eyesight, and that doesn't get any better with age, does it? What is the max comfortable bank angle for the A320? I was thinking about the circle land at Innsbruck. Right, okay, so the maximum bank angle that the computers will allow you to do is a bank angle of 67 degrees, but you need to apply continuous side stick, right or left. If you let go of the side stick, it will then level up to 33 degrees. 33 degrees is the maximum bank angle that the autopilot will fly for you.
Birmingham traffic, Golf Tango Mike, 10 miles southeast of Bedworth VRP inbound Birmingham.
Oh, Mad Pilot, is there a holding pattern thing now? Does that work? Definitely let me know if that works. If so, we'll have a look at maybe doing a tutorial on that if that starts to look good. Jared, you've just collected your gaming PC but not allowed it until Christmas. Oh no. Oh well, at least you know what Santa's leaving at the bottom of your chimney. Wouldn't it be nice if you left it all set up for you and Flight Sim 2020 all installed, sat on the runway Christmas morning? Mike, you're close, mate. 33 degrees. Anything over that, and you've got to put the bank angle on all the way. You've got to put the stick deflection all the way left or right. The moment you let go, it'll revert back to 33 degrees. Oh, hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to serve our drink selection.
Drink selection.
Coffee and cold beverages.
Would anyone like a drink?
Tray table is in the down position and clear any items from the aisle. Thank you.
So I'm just getting the ATIS from Edinburgh from VATSIM. Just checking, yes, we are using runway 24. Surface wind is 240 at 13 knots. So that's a straight on headwind, which is usually okay. New York, try out the A330 mod. It's great. I have seen that knocking about. The thing that put me off was it's essentially the A330 model in an A320 flight deck, isn't it? It's basically it's the A320, just looks different. Looks like an A330. So that'd be interesting. I also see that it looks like it's sunk into the ground a little bit, so I don't know if they've updated that yet. Fly Guide, am I using Sim Toolkit Pro? No, I'm not. I did have that on the old PC. The only reason I don't use it is because I try and keep the flight plan at the Flight Sim PC as clear of as many programs as possible. And it's just something that I don't really need.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Michael, links allowed. Yeah, mate, go for it.
so you are free to move about the cabin. However, please note that we do recommend you fasten your seat belts at all times when you are seated in case of turbulence.
Isn't that 90 hours in the air? JFK to Copenhagen? No, what's that, about 9 hours in the air maybe, not 90. New York, yeah, this is streaming on Twitch as well, although in all fairness, YouTube seems to be far more popular. I don't know why. It just is.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the cockpit, just to let you know what we've reached our cruise level of 36,000 feet and we're not anticipating any major delays, so expect to arrive in Edinburgh on time as planned. As the cabin crew make their way around the aircraft, please make sure the aisles are clear of any items, and I invite you to sit back, relax and enjoy the flight.
Okay, so I'm just working out where we need to stop our top of descent. We need to lose 16,000 feet by... where did I say? 16,000 feet by... no, sorry, we need to lose 10,000 feet by INPIP. Okay, so quick rule of thumb, you need to lose 10,000 feet. So do 10,000 divided by 1,000 and times that by 3. Also add 9 or 10 miles just to give you time to slow down. So about 40 miles from INPIP we need to start the descent. So if we look here, we'll be able to see now on the navigation display when INPIP comes in, then we'll start that descent. Incidentally as well, if you slow down to about 270 knots and descend at a rate of about 1800 feet per minute, that gives you a good rule of thumb for descending down. Richard, what is VATSIM? Right, okay, VATSIM is the Virtual Air Traffic Control Simulation. Actually, I'm not sure that's what it stands for. It's something like that. Basically, it's real air traffic controllers controlling you on the VATSIM network. It is fantastic. Please do check out the VATSIM tutorial that's on my the channel, and that'll give you a much greater appreciation for it. There's basically a tutorial on there for your first time, which is literally just sat listening at the ground to all the live traffic going on, and then we do a live tutorial flight. I think it was from Belfast down to Luton or somewhere like that. It's definitely on there, so which one of the playlists, go and have a look at that. You'll never, once you've got into VATSIM, you'll never fly without it. What's the difference between the dev mode and the A320NX and stable? Basically, the developer mode is usually updated 2-3 times a day as the developers are adding bits to it. It's that up to date. The stable version is the one that they've all tested and is declared as bug free. However, I must say I'm flying a developer mode version here from a couple of weeks ago, and I've not got any bugs. Certainly no more bugs than the stable versions have. Am I a pilot in real life? No, that's the third time I've been asked that. Sadly no, can't pass the UK Class 1 medical. The green numbers on the performance page make no sense. What have I done wrong? It has 100 for every stage. That sounds annoying. Let's have a quick look. So which performance page are we looking at? Oh, you'll be looking at a different performance page to me because I'm in the cruise stage of the flight, aren't you? Yeah, might need a bit more information to help you there. When requesting pushback, when the cap says this is with alpha, right, okay. When you're requesting pushback, you're basically just letting them know what ATIS of information you've got. The ATIS information is just giving a letter, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and every time it changes, it moves on to the next letter of the alphabet. So it's just a way of confirming to the air traffic control that you've got the latest information. If you're telling him you've got information Bravo and information Charlie is now current, then he'll update you with what the difference is. Yeah, VAC static, that's a good way to see who's online at the moment. Richard, wow, I might fly this plane in real life. Good luck to you. I wish I could. They'll only let me in the simulators, they won't let me near the real one. William, congratulations on the 1,000 subs. Yes, that was wonderful news to wake up to this morning when I saw that. Thank you very much to each and every one of you. Hydra Pepper, don't worry about it, we were all new at some point. But yeah, the development team for Fly-by-Wire is updating it on a very regular basis. As I say, it's been updated sort of up to 2-3 times a day. A lot of the time with minor adjustments that you don't see. It had 100 managed for climb, but now 171. I hope that's not feet per minute. You're not going to get high at that rate. Rafa, good evening from... you're in Brazil. Not evening where you are, presumably. Richard, 1,500 hours on the type, based at Manchester for a well-known airline. Are you still flying? That is the question. Is your airline the same colours as the one I'm currently flying in the sim? If so, you can instruct me down. Alright, so I've got some of the ATIS details. We're going to start putting these in now because we're going to start the descent phase soon. So QNH at Edinburgh is, oh hang on a second, I need to get the correct one that links with the sim, otherwise we might be slightly out and we don't want that. So we'll get that in a second. I'll not ask which airline, Richard, but I have a fair idea. If you're still flying, well done. I know a lot of my friends currently aren't. Laser eye surgery. Oh, my eyes are well past laser eye surgery. I need laser eye surgery just to wear better glasses. Okay, so what have we got? The METAR at Edinburgh is 240 at 11. Broken 2-1, so that's good. It's going to be a Cat 1 approach. 12 degrees, QNH 1001. Okay, let's get that into the approach phase. So winds 240 at 11. Temperature is 12. That's quite warm for Scotland this time of year. And QNH is 1001. What's the minimum decision altitude for this? For Cat 1 is, where are you? 300 feet. Get that in there. And transition altitude is 6,000 feet. So an approach speed of 130, that sounds good. Okay, so we can see our IMPIP now just coming up on the navigation display, and as I say, we want to be at 26,000 feet by then. We're going to just start our descent probably about 40 miles away. We only need to do 10,000 feet. Don't know why every time I change views I lose my upper position, so we need to keep resetting that. QNH is wrong, is it? Bath McNabb, where are you getting your QNH from? Was 1001, wasn't it? Messages. QNH 1001. There we go. So Mike, from their website, Airability changes lives by teaching anyone with a disability how to fly an aeroplane. We do this because it drives focus on capabilities and it encourages the student to ask. Absolutely. Wrong in the McDo. What did I pop in there? Let's have a look. Oh! Thank you for that. Good spot. Don't know why it missed out a 0, but there we are. Thank you. I'm still blaming my children for breaking my glasses. That's the excuse for the next couple of weeks anyway, until the new ones arrive. How do you get the METAR to show up in the McDo? Well, that is in one of the latest dev builds of the A320 fly-by-wire mod. You basically hit the McDo menu. Can you see my mouse? This might make this a little bit easier. 1 second. Let me just do the capture cursor. There you go. So now you can see what I'm clicking. So yeah, you click the McDo menu. Bath McNabb. I need one of them. Thank you. Then go to the ATSU screen just here, the AOC menu, and then you can request the weather, you can request the ATIS. So I just did a weather request, and then you just send it, and then it sends the message, it's queued, then it's sent, and then in a minute or two you'll get a received message for you to click into on there, and it'll tell you the latest weather. Okay, so how far are we away from INPIP? Okay, we're coming up on 40 miles, so with that we're going to start our descent down. So we want to be at 260, and I think if I put the constraints on there, is that already set there at INPIP at 260? It is actually. Flight level 260. It's not showing up there, however, which is strange. You can actually now go into these, look, altitude constraint 260, and change it. I'm not changing it, I'm just trying to make it appear on the navigation display. But there it is. Still didn't come up. Anyway, let's start that descent. So we'll do a manual descent rate of about 1800 feet per minute. And I'm going to reduce the speed down as well. That's 2 people in 2 messages asking me to do a flight from Newcastle to somewhere. Where would you like me to fly from? Do an EGGW-NT flight one day, home airport. And Will as well. So Will and Dave, you want me to go to Newcastle? Do you know, I can't remember off the top of my head if Newcastle was a Easyjet base. If it was, it's probably shut down now. Can't switch that to knots just yet. Why are we not descending? Just increase the rate of descent ever so slightly now. Dave, have they just shut it? Oh, that's a shame. Easyjet hubs shut down, all outbound flights have ceased. Yeah, it's the same at Stansted. And a couple of others as well. Alright guys, I'll tell you what, let's try something. So we have got, showing up on the navigation display, the constraint of 20,000 feet by INREV, which is correct. Might come to Bristol. I think I have landed there on one of these streams. I can't remember which one though. I'm going to see if managed mode works. Let's see how we get down with this. So managed mode, and I want to be at 20,000 feet. Will it get me down there? I may have to intervene if not. Let's see how that does. Richard, that's a very good tip. So we can actually set this one. And I must admit, I do always generally tend to forget to set the altimeter at the transition altitude, and it's because we've popped the transition altitude into the McDo, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you normally get a notification up here on the main flight display telling you it's the transition altitude, and I'm so used to relying on that. 89 knot crosswind, that sounds like fun. Let's hope that's slowed down for by the time we get into Edinburgh. Will, you were there on the last flight in August, arriving back from Corfu. Pilots and cabin crew making one of the last flights. Yeah, I've got a friend that is currently not flying until I think at the earliest March. Voluntary unpaid leave, I think. You know, hope to try and keep a job in the future, but hopefully things are looking up. There's a bit of a vaccine on the horizon, so we keep hearing. So what's our descent rate at the moment? 21,000 feet? No, 2,100 feet. 21,000 feet, that'd be fun. Yes, Will, you're right. Not only the pilots, it's all the crabbing crew and ground staff. Everyone's affected by it. Emilis, the planes, when you fly the Neo, it just nosedives when descending. I do think that has a lot to do with these constraints, you know, which aren't always accurate. I've double checked these, and they are okay. They're good. Better start looking for an alternate. I don't think the winds are actually quite that bad at ground level at Edinburgh. If they are, you're right. We're not going there. Will, having second thoughts on training as it looks not too promising, so worried if you won't earn it back. Yeah, it's a lot of money to fork out, isn't it? Hydra Pepper, you've found a mod for a shared cockpit. That could be good, considering the amount of things I forget when I'm flying on my own. Mr. Sal, are you on live player? If you mean live streaming, certainly. Not too sure what you mean by live player though, I must admit. Right, so we pass InPip, we pass InRev, we pass Escudo, and then at Escudo we're going to change, we're going to come away from this flight plane here because it always wants to take us basically direct to the EDN non-directional beacon, which it shouldn't do. That's a bug, that shouldn't happen. So instead we're going to go over heading 007, which should take us up to Tartan waypoint, which is not shown on the navigation display, and from there we're going to vector ourselves into Edinburgh. I'm just going to double check there's no... Yeah, I'm just checking that there is no ATC online, which is a shame. Normally there's ATC online around this time of an evening, but hey ho. Oh, you mean on multiplayer? Thank you, Will. No, I'm not on multiplayer. I'm on VATSIM. Although, as someone suggested today, with to celebrate the 1,000 subscribers, what we should do is probably do a multiplayer thing. Come off VATSIM, and I'll look at doing multiplayer, which means that we could perhaps do a joint group flight, which would be very good. Right, what are our speed restrictions here? So we want to be 250 by Escudo, and then from there we're descending to 7,000 feet. Whoa, that's a mad descent rate. What's happening there? Should we put some seatbelts on?
Ladies and gentlemen, from the cockpit, you may have noticed we've just begun our descent into Edinburgh.
Yeah, they probably noticed when their drinks hit their faces.
So it should be a reasonably smooth approach. We're not expecting much in the way of clouds, so you should have a nice view out of the window all the way down. If you could assist the cabin crew by tidying your tray and handing them any litter as they come around, it would be most appreciated. For safety reasons, please turn off all electronic devices or switch them to airplane mode until after we've landed, and please also note that the aircraft toilets will shortly be out of use. Thank you.
So I've gone back into manage mode for the speed, just to see if it pulls us back to 250 by InRev.
Please fasten your seatbelts as soon as possible. Thank you.
It does say here on the navigation display that it's got the constraint of 250 knots. And we've got a magenta triangle over here. We've also got a 230 knot constraint there, however. We'll see what happens. That's half the fun of the simulator, seeing if it does what it's supposed to. Oh well, I'm not watching I'm a Celebrity. Well, actually no, that's a lie. My wife likes it, so that will be on +1 in about at 10 o'clock. But like that, I've used to program the DMA ARC into the... oh yeah, that's in the 737, which, one, I would have no idea how to do that in the Boeing, and two, the A320 is not that advanced just yet in the sim. Aurelius, that's what happens to you as well. Oh well, there you go, you're not the only one. Will the robot voice is annoying. It is, you can actually download sound packs, and I've just not done. Let's judge the landing. Oh great, no pressure guys. Hello from the Canary Islands, fantastic. Not sure I could reach there in the A320. Will, the Canary Islands mate, not the Candy Island. Okay, so all's looking good, and I'm just going to double check that the RadNav page is set up correctly. 108.9, double check that. 108.9, I've got the identifier there, runway 24. Excellent. We've got a user waypoint just here, but we're going to have ignored that because as soon as we hit the Eskdale point, then we're also going to start our descent now down to 7,000 feet, and I'm going to operate this manually. So here we go. Have a bit more airspeed than that. Our 230 actually by Tartan, which is a waypoint not shown on the navigation display, remember. It appears to be missing. Okay, so we'll just reduce a bit of speed there. And we're now also going to make the turn that we spoke of as well. So we want a fly heading of 007 to begin with. If any of you have got Navigraph, by the way, then the star is the InPip 1 Echo that we're performing at the moment. I say we're performing, we can't see it because it's not actually modelled accurately, but that's the one we're close to flying. And then if I just zoom out a little bit, you can see here we're basically going to be flying straight up and almost arriving at base leg to make a left turn onto finals. And there's the DME 12-mile DME arc from Tala, which is not programmed in, so we'll hand fly this. Good. In the constraint altitudes on a standard instrument departure, does the McDo follow them, or can you follow ATC? Oh wow, right, okay, so basically the altitude constraints are there for a reason. They should be followed. The McDo does tend to follow a lot of them, always worth double checking that. The moment you program a SID or a star in, it's always good practice to compare them against the chart, make sure they're right. And or do you follow ATC? ATC always wins over the charts, always do what ATC tells you. Unless of course it's Microsoft Flight Simulator ATC, in which case is not always that reliable. True Easyjet simmer, it's going to be butter. Oh, no, not sure about that. Luis, what up? What up is this aeroplane, but we're coming down. Smooth clicking and moving dials, is yours buggy? Well, that's interesting. That's not something I've actually had an issue with either. And as I was telling someone earlier, it's not a massively powerful machine, this that I'm using. There is certainly much better ones out there. Mike, I'm being diplomatic. Can't say what I really think about the Microsoft ATC. That said, let's say I used it once, maybe twice, and yeah, then I decided, you know what, it'll be, I flew without it until VATSIM, the VATSIM client worked properly. Oh, a little bit of wind. Good, that's actually, that might not be wrong, because if the numbers show, you can have upper and lower limits, so it can say that you need to be of a certain fix and you need to be between 6,000 and 8,000 feet. That is very possible. So if they gave you 7,000, that's actually quite accurate. Bath McNabb, that is a very good point. There, one of the updates did bring that into play, didn't it? Okay, so we need to be we want to be at 12 miles, 3,000 feet. Now, the one thing that is not working, which is a bit of a pain, is what you should be able to do is to get track miles. You can normally enter into the McDo here, where it is you're going. I'll tell you how many miles you've got to go direct, but that doesn't work. We can't do that. And I think the aircraft has just entered the approach phase. Oh no, it hasn't. But we're going to enter the approach phase now. So with that in mind, the aircraft should start to slow. But in order to do that, of course, it's going to raise the nose. Once we hit the green dot speed, we'll start to descend again. Microsoft ATC switching 5 times in a row. There's another reason not to use it. Okay, below 10,000 feet. We'll turn the landing lights on. Still not descending fast enough for me. We'll pop this in manage mode. Let's see if we can just increase that rate of descent a little bit. 15 miles away from our intercept point of the ILS. Just have a quick look on VATSIM, see if we've got any traffic around us at the moment. Nope, so there could be traffic on the ground, but there's no traffic around us. So that's fine. Good evening, Richard. Incidentally, in the real A320, if you also want help with your descent rate, extend your landing lights. Don't turn them on. You can extend them without turning them on, which is like the halfway point of the switch, and that adds some drag to the aircraft. Can get you maybe an extra 100 feet per minute. Am I going vectorized all the time? Well, there's no air traffic control online, and I don't use the Microsoft air traffic control, so I'm basically vectoring myself into the in for the arrival. We're approaching the green dot speed, Will, which is our perfect, ideal speed for this approach. We've got the air brake actually extended at the moment. If you look down there, I don't know if you can see it. So the air brakes are deployed. And we'll now start to configure flaps 1. And let's set our descent rate now, and we are going to go down to 3,000 feet, which is our intercept altitude. One, and don't you use radial in to have the flight plans sequenced? If there's no air traffic control online, no, we'll just basically announce our intentions on the VATSIM Unicom frequency. So we'll extend now flaps 2, which really does help our help the drag. We'll make a left base turn in a moment. New York is Flying Live Studio free from computer viruses. So far so good, that's all I can tell you. It's working absolutely fine for me. The only other thing I've really got on this computer is the flight sim, so even if there were viruses, it's not going to do much. Okay, so we're going to start vectoring ourselves in now on... oh, I hate it when that happens. On base leg. Hot Shot, good evening. The new engine sounds on the dev version. Have they been updated in the last 7 to... I'm trying to think when out there. This isn't the latest dev version. This is probably about a week or 2 old. It came out just after the last update. So have they changed since then? Is the question first, because if they have, I've not got the latest ones. I really need to download the latest dev version because I want the fuel planner. That's now been added into there, so definitely look forward to hearing and seeing that. They've been updated as of yesterday. I like them, I really do. These are the ones that I've currently got as of now. I do like them. Have they changed very much? Well, no, thankfully there's not a crosswind. There will just be a almost perfect headwind. What I am actually going to nip and do now is turn off the there we go. Told you I'd forget the QNH. Always do, because I don't have the reminder on the flight display. We need to get that implemented. So what we're doing, Hot Shot, added the high-pitched metallic whine that's present on the LEAP. Ah, yes. Right, I'm going to have to download the dev version on it so I can get on board with that. Okay, let's turn on the landing systems. I'd be definitely interested to hear the idle sound, so that will be good. So there we go, we've got the localizer, we've got the glide slope there as well. I need to turn off the light in this office for a nighttime landing. Okay, so runway 24, 4. So we'll just make a slight turn just so we don't have too harsh an approach. Good luck on the landing, thank you very much. Go on then, Will. We'll get them told.
Cabin crew, please prepare the cabin for landing.
And the runway is now in sight. So with that, I'm going to arm the approach mode. Oh, good lord, I hope those winds drop before we get near the runway. Well, that's interesting. The winds have just disappeared. $250 at 50. This could be fun. Localizer alive.
We are about to land.
Glide slope
Please
active.
make sure you are seated with your belts fastened and your trays in the upright position.
So let's prep
Any
for
items should be safely stored.
landing.
Remember to turn off all electronic devices
Cabin
until
skewers
after
for landing. Auto thrust set. Go around altitude is 3,000 feet, which is set. Ecam memo. So, landing gear. Ground spoilers armed. Cabin crew has been alerted for landing. There we go. Flaps set. We've no traffic around us, so we can stabilise our approach quite early on and hit our final approach speed, which is nice. We'll just let Edinburgh traffic know that we're on our way. Edinburgh traffic, easy 34 Alpha Mike is established runway 24 at 9 miles. Richard, do you want to turn the approach mode on when runway is in sight? Absolutely not. No. Approach mode actually is normally turned on when, as a rule, it's a general rule, but as soon as ATC sort of clears you and says you cleared ILS approach, runway, blah blah, then you're usually already vectored to intercept the ILS, and then you can hit the approach mode and it will intercept that for you. Remember to arm the spoilers. Spoilers are already armed. And we've got a very strong headwind, so we're just going to go with low brakes for this landing. The wind will slow us down if nothing else. I love the haze. See that we've got sort of like a little bit of light refraction in the haze from the landing lights. We've lost the winds again on the navigation display. According to this, we've got a ground speed of 90 knots. Fiona, thank you for the clarification. I don't like this ILS even though I do fly EasyJet. What's wrong with it? I would only argue, Fino, that unless ATC have given you clearance for the ILS approach, you probably shouldn't be intercepting it. But splitting hairs a little bit there. So, happy with the Cat 1 approach. Fully stabilised. Rislas, check my RNAV tutorial out on the channel, and you'll see that actually the RNAV is quite good. If you know, that's fair enough. Every aircraft has different SOPs, don't they? So certainly will vary from flight to flight, airline to airline. Very quick view outside before I take manual control. Fino, get me a job. Yeah, Fino, are they that bothered about people that can't pass the Class 1 medical? If so, let me know. So, we're slightly misaligned here. Now, that's probably a bug. But we can do a visual, so I want to take over. Just bring us back onto line with the ILS. That headwind's calmed down a little bit now, which is good.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for landing.
100 above.
Just watch that glide slope as we've come off that a little bit. Need to maintain good rate of descent.
Minimum.
There's our minimums. No issues tonight with that.
200.
Just walk, there we go. We went off centre line, and probably one of the worst landings I've had for a while on there. We had that little bit of a ground effect creep in at the last moment, but nothing too major. Certainly went off the centre line though, which is annoying. And for anyone that's wondering,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Edinburgh.
It was a landing rate of 112 feet per minute.
0 degrees Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit, so if you have a jacket or coat, you might want to put it on before exiting the aircraft. Please remain seated until the aircraft arrives at the gate. You are reminded to keep all electronic devices switched off until you have entered the airport terminal. Thank you for flying with Easyjet.
Right, let me get off the runway, then we'll see where we're going. Oh, Edinburgh Approach has just come online. A bit late for that. We'll give them a contact in a moment. Right, so Edinburgh Approach 121.2. Oh, hang on, we have got a major issue now. Oh, that's never happened before. Oh, there we go. All the dials are spinning around. I've seen people talk about that on the forums, but I've never had it happen to me. Ooh. And also, the parking brake came off. Can we pop that on, please?
Jerry 1332, turn left heading
There we go.
280 degrees, clear ILS approach runway 24, report established.
On left heading 280 and clear ILS 124, Jersey 1332.
Edinburgh, good evening. Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Vacated runway 24 right.
24 Alpha
right.
Mike, welcome to Edinburgh,
Wrong airport.
taxi Alpha Echo Stand 8.
Taxi via Alpha Echo Stand 8, Easy 34 Alpha Mike. Oh, I need a chart now. Where are we? So, Alpha and Echo for Stand 8. We just need to tidy this up as well. Again, this is where having 2 pilots comes in handy, because they can do everything whilst you're sorting everything else out. Strobe lights off. Good. Alright, let's taxi.
Jerry 1332, surface wind 240 degrees, 9 knots, gusting 1924, clear land.
Quit to runway 24, Jersey 1332.
Ah, so the wind was gusted. In that case, I'm blaming the poor landing on that. Well, that and I can't see. Okay, so we're taking Echo, which is our first right, to parking stand 8. Which, after we've turned right, we turn immediately left. If anyone's got any questions as well before I log off after parking, please ask them now, and then I'll come to them once I've parked up. Is anyone else like me? When they do a poor landing, they're really annoyed with themselves. Never mind, tomorrow's a new day, we'll get to do it again. I'm just looking for this right hand turn, which should be any second. There's the control tower. I think it's almost a beam that. Here it is. So right turn here, left turn there, and then we're kind of having to guess really where stand 8 is. Sort of slap bang in the middle of this terminal here. Unfortunately, we've not got taxiway signs yet, so it really is guesswork, particularly in the dark. We'll turn the taxi lights off so we don't blind anyone. I should have started the APU, because I'm going to guess I'm not going to get a ground power unit out here. Let's see if we can. Ground services, Edinburgh ground, request pushback. No. Okay, so we just need to get the APU going before I can close down the engines. Whilst we're doing that, let's just have a little look. So, Richard, you wish you could land like that. Oh, I can teach how to land like that. That's no problem. Why do I always fly to single runway airports? Captain Viv, not always true. Have you visited Amsterdam recently? There's definitely more than one. Self-loading cargo, you want to choose the real voice, not text to speak. It is more authentic, you're right, but what it can't do is it can't read things like the weather and every airport that we're going to, stuff like that. So it does have that advantage if you're using the text to speak. Feeder started as cabin crew. Yeah, there are many pilots out there that started as cabin crew, absolutely. The autopilot bug means you have to adjust your dead zones. Very, very true, Liam. Definitely make sure you do that. Lots of saving and worth the commitment. It is. I feel sorry for those that have saved and entered pilot school at the moment, though, because it's going to take years for us to get back to where we were. Yeah, you're in cold country now. I must admit, the self-loading cargo does have a bug, because it doesn't matter whether you land in the Arctic or the rainforest, it's still always 0 degrees. Will, you got to become cabin crew for Ryanair and scream brace. Fantastic. Ryanair cheap, prefer EasyJet though. 737-800 is not designed for soft landings. You want a DC-3? I definitely can't fly one of those. Bath McNab, you know your username. Are you Scottish, just out of interest? It's the McNab that's giving it away. I've heard that before, Bath. Yeah. Great Halloween costume as well, isn't it? If you can smuggle a guide dog on board, I think that would probably sell it. Have a few drams, that will sort your eyes out. I tell you, I'm just waiting for the new glasses to come. Richard, every time you land. Yes, you're right. There's definitely frustration involved for you to do a long haul flight. I did across the Atlantic the other day from JFK to Heathrow. Again in the A320, and thankfully it had probably one of the best landings I've done. So that was definitely a good end to a long flight. Alright guys, I'm going to sign off there for the evening, but I will be back tomorrow during the daytime for live streams. If you do follow those, you know I'm not on voice during the day, just because I'm usually working at the same time as I'm doing it, and I'd never get any work done if not. But I will most certainly see some of you tomorrow, I hope. And once again today, thank you very, very much for pushing us up to over 1,000 subscribers. It really makes it worthwhile. If anyone does have any suggestions for any of the showcase landings, say we've done Innsbruck, I'm looking at a couple of others at the moment, showcase landings, do suggest those. Every Friday we do long haul Fridays, so that's an A320 still, but we can do flights of up to 6-7 hours in the Neo, so across the Atlantic, etc. So that's always worth doing. Good stuff. Alright guys, enjoy that. It was great having you on board, and we got loads of people watching the stream as well, which is always nice. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see some of you again tomorrow, and yeah, I'll hopefully see you all soon. Good night everyone. Bye bye.